Hi, my name is Rachel Wilson, and today I'm going to be talking about Google tools in the classroom. To begin with, I want to state some objectives of this presentation. The first is we're going to talk about the background and the origins of Google. And then next, we're going to answer some questions like, what are Google tools and how are they used in classrooms? And then even more specifically, how are they used in content areas? To begin with, I want to give a little background on the history of Google. I don't think we can talk about Google tools without first talking about Google. We all are probably familiar with Google as a search engine, but it really is so much more than that. It's actually even become a verb. We've talked about, let me Google that. It's so widely known and used. Google was founded in 1998 by graduate students at Stanford named Sergey Brin and Larry Page. And what these guys wanted to do was find a better way to rank websites when you put a term or a website into a search engine looking for it. At that time, if you were to type in something into a search engine, you would get a list of websites in pretty much no specific order. So you would have to just search and search and search to find the one you were looking for. Well, what they did was develop a technology that ranked the websites based on the number of links that were offered within each website. And initially, they didn't term it Google, they termed it BackRub. So it did begin as an online search firm. Today, there are more than 70% of searches worldwide that are conducted using Google. So it is incredibly widely used. They offer a variety of services now, well beyond just being a search engine. It's actually over 50 different services, and that includes everything from email to translation services, map services, and apps as well. The one we're gonna really talk about is Google Tools and dive into how we can use that in a classroom. So what is Google Tools? Well, Google Tools are a part of Google Apps, and that's just the platform that we use to assess Google Tools. The great thing about Google Apps is that they are customizable. They offer different products based on the needs of different industries, and those industries include things like government, businesses, education, and then certainly needs of just the everyday user like you and I. So today we're going to talk about specifically Google for Education. One of the great things about Google for Education is that it is free. It's available to educators and students, and it is a free tool. And it's going to include things like Google Classroom and Google Scholar, a Google Search for Education and Maps, as well as Google Cultural Institute, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later on. So why should we use Google tools? There are a lot of really great features for educators and students in Google Tools. The first one being the sharing feature. Google Tools allows you to create a presentation, a quiz or test, or a paper even in Google, and then share it, which means that you can share it between teacher and student. You can share it between a group of students. And so it's accessible from home, from school, from a variety of locations, and the students can share those things, and everybody can work on the same paper or project at the same time, and it constantly automatically saves your work. At the same time, there are some excellent security features that keep it safe and secure for students and for teachers. So the fact that it is all done online is better for the environment because you're saving paper. You're not using as much paper, and you're eliminating the need for paper. So it is much better for the environment, and it has better IT features, which goes back to the security and the privacy. And so it's going to offer some really neat IT features as well. I have a short video that I want to show now about students and teachers and how they are using Google Tools in the classroom.
I consider myself lucky to be a teacher. Whose website are you looking at now? If a teacher is collecting and handing out papers, they're not maximizing the amount of time that they're actually teaching.
I have 45 minutes a day with kids, so if I can get them to do an assignment at night, I'm now out of time with them. As a first-year teacher, it was rough in the beginning. The amount of paper was overwhelming.
Google Classroom is one location for all of their worksheets and handouts. It's a way for teachers to be able to distribute projects to students. And it's a way for students to be able to turn in their work.
Everyone should have their own copy that has their name up on the top.
It gives you a little more teaching time. And who doesn't like to save time?
Everything that we need for the class is in one place.
My worksheets are there, my group work is there.
I submit it, and then it's done. I don't have to worry about losing it or forgetting to hand it in or spilling coffee on it anymore.
Classroom really helped to organize everything, and it showed me when it was submitted, what was submitted.
You cannot stay in teaching and keep going to the old ways.
With Google Classroom, I'm able to maximize time in the classroom to bring students to that next level.
It definitely helped make me a much better teacher. You see faculty now that are rejuvenated. Teaching becomes new again. Very good, okay.
So let's talk more about what is Google for Education. Google for Education, and they talked about some of these things in the video a little bit, are things like Google Classroom, which we're going to talk about more in a few minutes. Google Drive. Google Drive is just kind of the platform for assessing a lot of things. The great thing about Google Drive is, like, as educators, we can actually have it as an app on our phone, and so we can assess these things, mobilely. Gmail, we're pretty familiar with Gmail as a form of email. Google Calendar, which allows you to sync. You can send calendar invites and reminders to students, to other teachers. That's a great feature of Google Calendar. Google Vault. Google Vault is just kind of an extension of letting you save things. It lets you save email messages. It lets you save Hangout chats, which we're going to talk about in just a second, that you can record them. It just kind of gives you that extra saving feature. Google Doc Sheets, Forms, and Slides. I actually have created this presentation using Google Slides. It's very, very user-friendly. Google Forms are things that you can use to create quizzes because they allow you to do different types of questions on them. Google Docs are great for presentations, papers, things like that. Google Hangout is very similar to FaceTime. Except that you can invite up to 10 people in Google Hangout. And then Google Sites is where you can create, for example, a classroom website. So Google Classroom, let's talk about that for just a second. This is the classroom of the future. I'm going to show another video in just a minute. It's going to talk even more about Google Classroom and some of the advantages of using that, and some of the remote advantages of using that. But Google Classroom is an online classroom. You can connect teachers and students. We talked a little bit about the sharing feature of Google Classroom. It encourages communication between teachers and students in that you can share assignments, you can comment on assignments, and Google Hangout is part of Google Classroom. You can add that to it. It just encourages teachers and students to work together and collaborate. It does simplify assignments because you don't have as much paper floating around. I think that's a very big advantage of Google Classroom. So I do want to show another very short video that talks about Google Classroom, talks about some students and just what they like about it and some advantages from their point of view.
A few years ago, I started to watch the teachers around me passing me. It got more intimidating once the computers came. I felt as though if I couldn't get this, it would be time for me to retire. My mother didn't receive much of an education. Because of that, she wants me to achieve great things. So each object have their own values, different values. At my house, I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers. Having lots of siblings is quite fun, but it's not peaceful. When I'm doing my homework, I go into Google Classroom.
If I see my teacher's icon pop up, if I don't understand something, I could ask him and be able to answer rather than having to wait till my next Spanish lesson.
I take the bus home. On my phone, from anywhere, I'm able to access Google Classroom. We don't have to waste time writing our assignments, wasting paper. It saves my time.
I find it useful to have classmates and teachers looking at your work. I can see where they've made mistakes and where I've made mistakes and where we can both correct it.
Ahora está muy bien. Sí, excelente.
I feel like I have made this breakthrough. You just click on their name and their document opens up immediately in front of you. And those beautiful thoughts come out.
I want to become a software developer.
I would like to get qualifications for a judge because they help people out and stand up for people.
I want to be good my whole entire teaching career.
Okay, so Google Tools are something that can be used in every classroom. Quickly want to go through a few of them. Google Scholar, which is a search engine that's just limited only to scholarly literature and publishing. It's very safe for students to use. Google Docs, we've mentioned, they allow for sharing and teachers can provide feedback on them. And then Google Slides, which is, like I said, what I've used this presentation for and is usable for this presentations like this. Google Tools are used also for Google Hangout, which is very similar to FaceTime. They can meet up, they can work on projects. It also can allow teachers to FaceTime or hang out in, maybe an author or a famous mathematician, so you can bring the real world into your classroom. And Google Sites is just a very easy and free way to create and share websites for teachers. So specifically, let's talk about Google Tools for math. Google Forms are used for exit tickets, formal assessments, immediate feedback. It's very safe, and it eliminates that need for paper. And then you can also use Google Docs to provide online assignments. Google Tools for ELA. You're going to be able to allow students to keep a writing journal, and it can be only read by the teacher. So there's that privacy feature we've talked about. Google Scholar is a safe way to use students to do research, and Hangout, like I mentioned earlier, to bring authors into the classroom from around the world. Science. Google Science Journal is something that's relatively new that has simple experiments that can be used through the app on your phone. And then Google Docs, additionally, we've mentioned journaling is a great way to keep science journals. Social Studies. Google Cultural Institute is a phenomenal feature that has art and architecture and heritage from over 1,200 museums around the world, so students can access artifacts. It also provides street views for many monuments and landmarks. So my question to you now is, how will you use Google in your classroom, knowing all of the great things that Google gives us as educators?